Hey there, this is Alan Brocken. Now that my kids are grown up, they say I'm the cool dad everybody talks about. But if you're a dad like me, you can test that no matter how cool you might be on any given day, you're not that way every day. When they were younger, I can say there were many days I didn't even have a word left for them, and it was tough on all of us. So now that they're out of the house, here's my daily dad word to give you a hand getting your brain out of work mode and into family mode. So make sure you take out your handy notebook to jot things down that are top of mind so you can get it out of your work brain and free up some headspace for your family. So let's get started with today's dad word, which is marksmanship. We're going to talk about being on the mark with shooting sports, I guess, that we're talking about marksmanship. So I'll be sharing my thoughts and possibly a dad joke or two, so let's get started. Now, as a parent and a marksman, one of the most important things you can do is put on your oxygen mask before helping others. You need to breathe if you're going to shoot. You got to do that right. So let's all just take a deep breath in through your mouth, slowly out through your nose, in through your mouth, out through your nose. And I want you to just keep doing that throughout the whole show. There's good scientific data says that clears out all kinds of bad brain chemicals and really helps you with focus. And we're going to need some time to focus to be able to get all this stuff out of our work and troubles of the day out of our headspace so we've got room for the family. So I want you to keep breathing while I talk about God's word. And this week's memory verse is Romans 3:23. And it says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." Romans 3:23. One more time. "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." Romans 3:23. And I think that goes really good with this marksmanship idea because, the word sin originally meant to miss the mark, as in an archer missing their mark, having bad marksmanship. So we'll be talking a little bit about that as we go through the show today. But I want to make sure you're still breathing. So take a deep breath in and take it slow. And, as you're hanging up your stuff from the days, you're kind of going, okay, I got to clear this out. I can't deal with that right now. I'll deal with it tomorrow. If you need to take pause and write some important reminders down just to get this out of the way, keep breathing, but write it down and then hit play when you're ready to go. All right, well, I hope you're ready for today's great word because it's from Benjamin Franklin in 1783. And he declared, "In my opinion, there never was a good war or a bad peace." How do you feel about that at home? Have you ever had a war brewing just under the surface of a seemingly peaceful evening at home? As we think about making the mark, is thinking of marksmanship. I first got this quote from my bonus dad, and I wasn't sure how it fit the theme, right? Like, how does what Ben Franklin's saying about bad war and a good peace, so to speak, how does that fit? And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, wait a second, has there ever been a bad peace? And to a certain extent, I think we have to get to the definition of the word to really work that out. I'm sure he's talking about cessation of bloody conflict between nations, which is a whole discussion in of itself. Not that many of us would say that the quote Cold War was really a good peace. But what about in your home, right? Are you in the middle of a Cold War? Is there a bad peace, in your home? Yesterday we talked about making sure you have the backstory on things before jumping into solving problems, or you might hit the mark but cause collateral damage. So what about the peace around you? Is it really peace, or is there unsaid resentment and strife hiding out at home? Are you at war and you don't even know it? One of the things I try to do pretty regularly was take my kids on a drive somewhere. Just me and that child, not all of them one at a time. And I always try to make sure it lasted a while, right? I mean, I remember literally driving a loop around my city, kind of on purpose because I wanted to give my kid long enough to get something out, right? A good 30 to 60-minute trip in the car, or, if you're in an urban area, maybe take a long train ride somewhere across the city, but just somewhere that takes both of your minds kind of off of everything else and you don't really have much else to do. It's a great way to get a good conversation. And I got to say, in those moments, I found about all kinds of trouble brewing below the surface. Sometimes, it was inter-family problems. Sometimes it was outside the family. But regardless, had I not checked to see if the peace was actually good, trouble would have been brewing and it would have boiled over. So what about you? You possibly have a unsettled piece going on at home, want to talk it out? Well, join us on the Daily Dad Word discussions group on Facebook, and we're happy to help you talk it out. Are you still breathing? Anything else coming to mind? Do you need another pause to make sure you've noted down all the stuff you need to do for later? Go ahead and take it. You're back, so I hope you're ready for a good word that comes from Bridgewater, Connecticut, where Giselle Bezos decided to make a difference. At the age of 9, Giselle sought to solve a problem for many of her peers losing their retainers. She invented the retainer container, which is a bracelet to help kids always keep their retainers on them, preventing their parents from having to pay the high cost of replacing the retainer. In 2017, she presented her invention to the National Invention Convention and Entrepreneur Expo. You can learn more about Giselle Bezos' story and her great invention and how to get one for your kid if they've got a retainer at the link in the description. Do you know an inspiring kid with a great attitude? Maybe they've solved a basic problem like Giselle had. Maybe they're out about helping others. Well, why don't you tell us about it? If you go out to dailydadword.com and hit the contact form, let us know about it. We can feature their story and maybe get some help for their charity. Are you still breathing? If my breathing exercise isn't enough to clear out your head, make sure you got plenty of headspace. How about a laugh with some marksmanship jokes? So, what did the mummy archery coach say at the end of practice? It's a wrap. Now, I gotta tell you, if I'm being completely honest, my marksmanship as an archer is pretty bad. But I aim to improve. No, don't like it. All right, not funny. That's fine. Well, it's your turn. You come up with a marksmanship related pun, funny story, maybe just an anecdote about your parents to share with the family. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dad Word. If you're looking for more inspiration for your family, check us out at dailydadword.com/dailydadword. There's a link in the bio. I have a number of resources there to plant a seed for a lifetime relationship with your family, including a link to the Daily Dad Word Discussions Facebook group. I'm working on some cool dad projects for you to do with your family, so you should see that in coming weeks. But if you found the focus time useful, click the like and subscribe to be notified about our next day's show. But right now, I encourage you, take another 5-10 minutes with your handy notebook and make sure you've emptied out as many of your troubles as you can so you have enough headspace to engage your family. See you later.